Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis. And I always like to introduce the team that God has provided me because it's such a perfect team. Let me start out with my faithful assistant, Faith, who behind the scenes does everything. All I have to do is speak, and that's great. And she is our soloist. But Faith has been with me since the day she was born, basically. She was about 3 weeks old when her dad started bringing her to church, and he would work the soundboard and have her in one hand and the soundboard in the other hand. And then when she was able to crawl, she crawled right up on the stage. So we just sort of left her there. I would walk around her. And then we would put her on the podium for announcements. So it was kind of cool like that. And she lived about 6 blocks from my house. So her dad was a tow truck driver. And when he would go on out of town tows, he would drop the girls at my house and they'd hang out with me all day. And I'm a project person. So I always had all these projects. So, you know, I got to see how Faith worked. So when she was 14 and a half and said, I really want a real job, I said, yeah, let's come work for me in my ozone business. So she came and worked for me. And then when we went live here for, during the pandemic, I said, do you want to be my ministerial assistant? She said, sure. So she's been doing that ever since. That's been 3 years. So, I'm really blessed. She's 20 years old now. So she's been my assistant basically 6 years, 7 years almost. So I'm really blessed to have her with me. Like I said, she does all of the behind the scenes stuff. She answers you as me when you say hi, hello, good morning, which is how we like you to greet us. In a facility, I can look out and see who's there and see the shining faces glowing back at me. But I don't have that ability with the software. I get a number. I don't even get names. So we ask that you do say hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us. And then there's Faith, who answers you as me. And I go back and I look just to see if there's something I need to add. But in 3 years, I think I've only had to do that maybe twice. So she knows me better than I know myself. And of course, she is our soloist. And today we're going to be singing There's Only Love by Karen Drucker, right?
Yep.
What CD is that on? Do you know?
It is on. There's your sneak peek, guys. Songs of Spirit 2.
Songs of Spirit 2. We seem to love Songs of Spirit 2. Really. We use a lot of music on them. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, thank you for being here. I love you. All right. And then there is my partner in crime, the wise and powerful Oz, who basically has been with me since 1998. He was my first baby practitioner, meaning he took all of his training with me except for one class, and then was my board president for like 7 or 8 years, and then moved off to Florida, and we lost the ability to have him in the service. So when we went live with this, I said, hey, Oz, you want to be our practitioner of the day every single week? I don't think I put it that way, but that's basically what happened. And he said, sure. And so here he is from Florida on the beach right now. Actually, I'm so jelly. I want to be at the beach so bad right now. Yeah. So he is our practitioner of the day. And what that means is that he will be doing the invocation, the benediction, and he'll be available at the end for our 1-minute miracle. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So anywho, thank you so much for being here. I love you.
Love you too.
All right. Would you also include Catherine Knox, please? Okay, so we had somebody. I don't know what happened to them. Today's topic, we're starting our Advent series, and today's topic is love, unconditional love. And so let's see, where are we? I already said that. There's a watch party button. So if you want to click on that watch party button and invite all your friends. It's a great way for them to know what kind of Sunday service they can expect. And you can talk amongst yourselves because it's a private chat. So it's a great way to answer any questions they might have. So click on that watch party button and invite all your friends. I'd like to invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Oh, I see. Okay. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
You're
is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
The presence of God, right here, right now, for God as we conceive of it, is all there is, eternal and infinite. Therefore, by that very premise, God must be here, right now, wherever you are, whenever you are. For that presence and that one greater being is in all things as all things, in each of us, right here, right now. I invoke that presence and the awareness of it, and I know that the blessings that ensue uplift and inspire and bring peace and balance to our lives and infinite creativity. For I know that this is a potential of God at all times. I know this is true, and I let it be so, and I give thanks that it is, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. What beach are you at?
We're on Corey Avenue and St. Pete Beach.
St. Pete's. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jelly.
Yeah.
All right. See you in a bit.
It's a little bit humid today.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got to turn up the heat in Racine, Wisconsin. It's cold there.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's cold here. It's snowing
Okay.
actually right now.
Oh gosh. Oh,
See
thank
you in a
goodness
bit.
thank God for Google Home. You'd be good.
You too. Bye. Okay. This next song is one that Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver wrote during her practitioner training as a reminder of how connected we are. If you know it, sing it loud and sing it proud, because you can't bother anybody.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I receive, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
Yes, we are all one in it. So if you're just now joining us, excuse me, say hi, hello, good morning, however you would like to greet us. And when we're in a facility, I can look out and see people with their faces shining back at me. And with this software, I get a number. That's all I get. So I don't have any way of knowing who's here. So please do say hello. If you like something that is either I say or Faith sings or Oz prays, use that thumbs up button to tell us that you like it. And of course, if you love it, send us hearts because we love to get love. And if something strikes you as very, very powerful, by all means, use the wow button, and that lets me know when I'm on track. So we always appreciate that feedback. So without further ado, here is Faith singing There Is Only Love by Karen Drucker.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I've lost my way, when I close myself and quiet my mind, I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. It's love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. It's love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love.
Thank you, Faith. I love that song. There's only love. It's a great meme to get stuck in your head, by the way. Thank you. All right. So, as I stated, we are doing the Sunday Advent topics. And in Christianity, they do Advent 4 weeks leading up to Christmas, which means they start in November, but right after Thanksgiving. But it's a way of taking your mind off of, the hustle and bustle and putting your mind back on the cosmic, or the Christ. We call it the cosmic Christ, but they just say Jesus, actually. And the topics are love, joy, hope, and peace. We do it a little bit differently. We usually start it at the first week of December and carry it out through the entire December. And that is because it just seems like a good idea to do it that way. Excuse me. Because I like to do a month of gratitude in November. And I hope you loved our guest speakers that we had during the month of November. But anyway, in the Christian faith, they talk about Jesus coming back. And I don't know that I believe that a person like Jesus just returns in physical form. What I think is going on is the return of Christ, the Christ consciousness. And so when we do the Advent topics, it's all geared towards the idea that, number one, yes, we're getting our minds off of all the hustle and bustle, the shopping and the, just the craziness that happens around the holidays, and leading us towards that Christ spirit. And so in my opinion, what's going on is that, so when the world understands the love of God the way Jesus understood it, to me, that's the second coming of Christ. So, for example, we don't see it the same way as a lot of faiths do. Like sin, for example. We don't believe in sin. We believe that sin is missing the mark. It's an old archery term. We don't see judgment the same way. We try to relieve ourselves of judgment. And so when we talk about the Christ consciousness, what we're saying is that we are agents here on earth for God's love. And when we're doing that, then we are practicing unconditional love. And by doing that, when the collective unconscious becomes more conscious of that love, that's when the second coming of Christ is here. President Bush, I don't agree with many things that he said, but he did say, he talked about the 1,000 points of light, and that basically what it is one person lights the light of another person, and it becomes kind of a collective big thing out of just one person's ideas. So I think the cosmic Christ is that way. Like Jesus lit the way for us, and now we are learning to practice those things that he taught, so that the second coming of Christ becomes this big deal among everybody, right? And when we have all accepted that, that's when the second coming of Christ is here. So we build it around lighting the menorah, because I always like to do that on Hanukkah. So we're going to do it in that order. Today is love. Next week is joy. Tina Giuffre will be here to sing on next week. And then we're going to do hope, which is the lighting of the menorah. And then we're going to, of course, do the Christmas service on the 24th in the morning. And then we're going to do peace on Christmas Eve in the morning. So, and we're going to do a burning bowl. So get your flash paper while you can, because it's a little bit easier. You can always burn paper, but it's just easier if you have flash paper. And for those of you who don't know what flash paper is, you light it and it goes poof and it's gone. So you write on it what you want to burn. So anyway, so we're going to be talking about love today, and it's unconditional love that we're going to be talking about. What's funny is that when I was in the school of ministry, right, we were in, it's called homiletics, but it's basically ministerial craftsmanship, and where you learn how to do sermons. You learn how to create your sermons, and you learn how to deliver them. And our instructor was Dr. Fred Vogt. And so he said, okay, let's talk about unconditional love. And he says there is no such thing as unconditional love. Well, as you can imagine, there's 40 students in the class and everybody believes in unconditional love. And so we were all like, what? You know, and I think sometimes he did that just to rile us up, but to get our passion going or whatever. But so we're like, well, what do you mean? Like mommies and babies, there's unconditional love there. And what about puppies and cats and people? And, you know, and he's like, nope, there's a benefit to be had by loving somebody. And it's like, well, no, you don't understand. Like a baby unconditionally loves the mom. And he's like, yeah, the mom takes care of the baby and has needs that need to be met. So it loves, of course. And, you know, I said, well, you know, my dog loves me unconditionally. And he goes, yeah, you feed her. I'm like, no, it's not just that. She gives me unconditional love. I unconditionally love her. And he goes, and so he starts talking about the feeling that you have. If you feel good that you unconditionally love somebody, that's a condition, right? We're all geared in our lives. We've been raised to believe in conditional love. Like you love me if I do this, or I don't love you if you can't do that for me. And so when we experience that unconditional love, it is foreign to us that somebody could love us no matter what. But that's what God's love is. For instance, we have free will. So God's not there saying, no, don't do that or I'll turn my back on you. We can do whatever we need to do to prove to ourselves whatever we need to prove. And God will stand by us and be that love no matter what we do. So for me, that's unconditional love. And, you know, we were really funny critters when we were in the school of ministry because we knew everything, right? And Dr. Fred kept saying, nope, you know, Faith reminded me last time I did this of, you know, Smokey, my dog, who won't go downstairs. She, Vincent brought her into the house and Lynn didn't have a say-so in it. And she started to go downstairs when she was just a wee little puppy. And he started yelling and screaming and banging on the wall. And she's 10 years old now, and there's no way she will go down those stairs. No way at all. He feeds her. He takes care of all of her needs pretty much. And as soon as he goes, let's go downstairs, she runs up to my room and seeks love and affection from me. So there goes that theory, Dr. Fred. Anyway, usually in church, when we have a facility, we pass out these little cards saying, what is your definition of love? Because when I was in my PhD program, no, I didn't get a PhD. They couldn't provide me product, and I was trying to do it online because I couldn't travel to North Hollywood, you know, 2 or 3 times a week from Colorado. And they stopped being able to provide me with content. So I couldn't finish my PhD. But when I was in my PhD program, I went into North Hollywood to do the Master's Values class. And we talked a lot about definitions of words because love means something to me and it means something to you, but it may not be the same definition. And so it's really important that we get some clarity around what our definition of a word is. That was what I took out of that program, as well as, you know, the values stuff. I mean, like values drive our lives. I took all of that. But in this context, what I learned was that we have to be very, very clear about what we believe the definition of a word is. And so I'm going to give you my definition of love, and we don't have any way to, you know, write it on a piece of paper and have it. We used to read them up on the thing and then come to consensus on what we believe that word was. So I'm going to give you my definition, and my definition is unconditional love. My definition of love is that feeling that you get inside of you that tells you that you're loved. And I'm a feeler, so I feel it right away. Like that's the first thing I get is the feeling, not the words, not the, you know, essence of it, whatever. I feel it. And it's like an alignment that happens within my body. Like when you get in a fight with somebody, an argument with somebody, and you leave and you are still angry and they're still angry, have you ever noticed how you feel deep inside? You feel this like icky feeling. And when you leave a conversation in a good space where you have been honest and taken responsibility for your own stuff, and you leave with good feelings between you, notice how you feel on the inside. You feel that wonderful feeling. And so that is really the gist of all of this, is that alignment that you feel within yourself, that love that you feel within yourself, is God's love. That's what you're feeling, right? And because we are agents of God's love, that's, really what it is. I kind of look at it like, I'm glad you need this today. I'm glad this is speaking to you, Angel Renee. So I see God's love in particular, kind of like in a funnel, right? I have a funnel on the top of my head. That love comes down into me. And then I have another funnel at my heart chakra that goes out, and that's where I funnel the love out to. So I really see God's love as something that processes through me and that I'm able to outpour to the world. I knew this one woman, I know I've talked about this before, but I knew this one woman who was on a board with somebody, and they didn't like each other very much. And I kept saying to her, you need to love this person. That's the only way to get past all of this, is to love her. And she kept saying, I'm trying to love her, but I can't. I cannot love this person. I just cannot love this person. And one day I was in a meditation, and I got this aha about it not being us loving another person, but God loving that person through us. So I shared that with her, and she said, oh, I could do that, and now they have a very good working relationship. They'll never be best friends because they're just not, it's just not in the cards for that. But they have a very good working relationship because she begins to see this person through God's eyes. And that is kind of what we're on the earth to do, I believe. I'm here to see the face of God in everybody that I see. That namaste is the God in me salutes the God in you. That's what namaste is. And so I believe that that's what we are put on the earth for, is to be that loving presence that allows God's love to process through us so that we can give it out to other people. So God can love other people through us. And we're just the vessel through which that stuff comes. All right. So I love the version of God that we have. I know a lot of people find real solace in the idea that there's a wise judge in the sky, but I don't. And so for me, being raised as a Jewish girl in Hebrew school, being told that women are unclean because of what happened in the Garden of Eden, we are unclean. It was very difficult growing up with that because God preferred boys. And I eventually left the synagogue. I couldn't do it. I got kicked out of Hebrew school way too many times because I challenged all of that, because I didn't feel like, I couldn't believe in a God that would pick somebody over me simply because of their gender. And so when I left the synagogue, I did a fair amount of searching around in different religions, Taoism and Buddhism and Hinduism, and none of those really spoke to me. So when I came into religious science and I walked in, and Dr. Fred was talking about the God that we believe in, which is this loving God, and that, that we have free will and we do what we wish and God will love us anyway. I was just like, wow. It was impartial. It didn't choose anybody over anybody else. It wasn't a person. It was a divine intelligence. And when I heard that, it just gave me so much comfort. It let me know finally that no matter what I did or what I said, that I would be loved unconditionally. So it was powerful for me in that knowingness that I can't ever piss off God to the point where God leaves me, right? If God is within me, how could it leave me? If God is all around me, how could it leave me? right? And so I found great comfort in that. And so that is the God that we believe in. And because it's in and through and around us, then logistically, we're made of that substance of God. Because we're made of that substance of God, then unconditional love is our birthright. It is what we are made for. And so I think that comfort that I felt was in knowing this finally, that there was something in me that just gushed love at me no matter what I did. And so I am forever grateful for the day that I stepped into a religious science church. But, you know, back to Dr. Fred's aversion, let's put it that way, to unconditional love, I was like, okay, so what I love about this God that I'm learning about is that it doesn't matter whether I'm a girl or a boy. It doesn't matter whether I'm white or black. It doesn't matter whether I'm gay, straight, you know, just nothing matters. It's unconditional love. So we, of course, presented that argument to him, and he said, that's just that, but is unconditional love real? You know, how do you know? And so we would say, well, because of how we feel inside. Well, then it's conditional because now you feel good. So you're benefiting from it. But that, you know, that was kind of like every class with Dr. Fred was like that. And so, you know, the old version of God was a war God, a thunder God, a smoke God, a God that would smite people. And then Jesus came along and he started talking about a loving God. And people resonated with that more than they did this war God, right? Because people want love. That's what we want, right? And so in the New Testament, we came to realize that everyone was loved equally, you know, no matter what they've done. And instead of someone judging us from the sky, we are now believing that what we do has consequences. What we say has consequences. And for that, we suffer the consequences of those actions or those thoughts or those deeds. Not that someone is judging us and proclaiming punishment upon us, right? There's a saying in religious science that we are not punished for our sins, but by them. And sin, again, is just missing the mark. It's a term from archery. That's where it comes from. And when we miss the mark, there are consequences for that. And that's all it is. So when we understand that, we no longer have to fear hell. We no longer have to live our lives as good people so we can get into heaven. We begin to understand that heaven and hell are states of consciousness here on earth. And as long as we are holding something against another person, we can never feel the full throttle of God's unconditional love, right? I one time was watching this crazy series, reality show, where Vanilla Ice, the rapper Vanilla Ice, and Tammy Faye Baker were in the same house. Now, I don't know, some of you may not remember who Tammy Faye Baker was, that she's the reason I use waterproof mascara. She was a preacher in the Christian faith, and she would get on TV, and she wore this god-awful amount of makeup. Like you couldn't even see her eyes. It was so full of makeup. And she would cry every single time. And then there would be black streaks going down her face. And she got famous for that. So I wear waterproof mascara because I do cry from time to time in my sermons. And so I don't want to be that. Right? So she's the reason I started wearing waterproof mascara. But anyway, so they're in this house and Vanilla Ice doesn't know who she is. And she's going to be speaking one Sunday. And so he goes, well, I want to see you. I want to hear what you have to say. So he goes to church and he listens to her. And that particular day, she was talking about unforgiveness. And she was talking about in the Dark Ages when you would murder somebody, for example, they would strap the corpse onto your back and it stayed there until it rotted off your back. And she said, unforgiveness is like that. Unforgiveness is like strapping a corpse to your back and waiting for it to rot off of you. And I started thinking about that, and that's really true. I mean, forgiveness is not something we do for somebody else. It's not like I walk up to you and I go, I forgive you, and then all is well. That's not forgiveness. Forgiveness is breaking the chains that bind us, right? And it's for me. It's not for that other person. That other person's gone on. They're doing whatever they do. They aren't even aware that you're still suffering. So they're no longer attacking you or doing things to you. You're now doing it to yourself because you keep rehashing what they've done, right? And it goes around and around and around in your head. And all the while, you're the one who's affected. You see, if I have unforgiving thoughts, if I have thoughts of hatred, if I'm holding something against someone else, then what I'm doing is I'm drawing magnetically, I'm drawing into me those situations that I do not like. Because remember that the preponderance of our thoughts, the thought atmosphere that we create, and the feelings that go along with that, when you hash those over and over and over again, create this magnetic force field that just draws more of the same into you. So forgiveness is something we do to alleviate the bondage we have to this other person or this situation or whatever it is. And as long as we're practicing forgiveness 70 times 70, right, from the Bible, as long as we're practicing that forgiveness, not only over the other person, but for ourselves, then we begin to have a preponderance of our thoughts being loving and kind and gentle, right? And thoughts of love. And our feelings begin to be more peace and harmony and love. And when we feel like that, then we set up this magnetic force field that draws more of that into ourselves. So that's the purpose of forgiveness. It's not about that other person. I always say, like, if you burn down my playhouse and, I can forgive you all day long for that. But when I build a new playhouse, am I going to invite you back in? No. And I think that life is that way. I mean, you're free once you forgive somebody, you're free to have them back in your life if that's what you really want. But you are under no obligation to have them back in your life. Because when you have truly forgiven them, there is no energy there. There's no love, there's no hate, there's no anything. It's just they're there, right? And you can love the spirit of that person without loving the human. Because again, it's God's love that's coming through us. So God is loving that person, and you are just the vessel through which that love transmits. So once you've forgiven them, you can do that. You can be there in that loving presence. And no longer do you feel like you have to do something to create that, right? I think that unconditional love does exist. I really strongly disagree with Dr. Fred. For instance, Maui. Maui was a perfect example. Maui was a Emo Inu, which means she was a Shiba Inu and American Eskimo mix. And this dog, something must have happened to her at the breeder. She was pretty standoffish, which most Shibas are, but she was afraid of men, like really terrified of men. The first couple of weeks we had her, I couldn't leave her at home with Lynn. She would hide under the furniture and pee all over everything because she was so afraid of him. And it was really interesting to watch her. We would bring her to church, and at church she was okay with men. They were okay there. But the same man, like Faith's father, would come into my house and all of a sudden, oh my God, you're a man. Oh, even though at church she was loving him up. But she gave me the best lesson ever about unconditional love, I think. We used to take her to Starbucks with us. The Starbucks crew just loved her. They were her fan club. And we walked into Starbucks one time, and there was this goth guy. And he looked kind of dangerous. If you're not familiar with what goth is, they have like the white pasty makeup with black eye shadow and eyeliner and black lips and black nails. And he had knuckles that were tattooed, and he had a nose ring that came out of here and went up to his earrings and then down around his neck. he was just kind of a scary looking guy. And it was really weird because we don't hold on to the leash when we would take her in Starbucks because everybody wanted to see her. So we would just let her go. And she goes running up to this guy and we're like, oh, wow. And, I try to stay out of judgment as much as I can, but I have to say that there was a little part of my heart that went, because he looked dangerous, right? And so she runs up there and they have this little love fest going on. And I realized at that moment, she doesn't know anything about what goth is. She doesn't know anything she doesn't know what a vampire is. He looked like a vampire. She doesn't know about any of that. What she knows is the person's heart. And for some reason, even though he was a guy, she just was totally enamored with him. And I learned a valuable lesson that day because she could read someone's heart and she knew what love was. And she was able to get love from this guy and she was able to give love to this guy. And I thought about my judgments in life, just in general, where I would assume that someone was dangerous or I would assume that someone was not a good person. And it was all based on either looks or actions, right? It wasn't about seeing into the heart of the person like a dog would. So do I think dogs love unconditionally? Hell yeah. And that is, by the way, a biblical word, hell. I do believe that because I know that unconditional love exists in that situation, in many situations where it comes to dogs and cats and lizards and snakes and rabbits and any pet that you can think of, or animal companion, as I like to say. We don't have pets, we have animal companions. But they have an innate knowingness about what's in someone's heart. Hi, Fred, Kathy, Marlene, and Joey. And so they read that love. And so, yes, I do believe that unconditional love exists. But my point of all of this is, whether you believe unconditional love exists or not, if you practice something, it's towards the end goal of reaching it or attaining it. And whether you believe it is possible or not, as long as you're practicing unconditional love, then eventually, if there is unconditional love, you will experience it. I happen to believe that it does exist. So I practice for that end result, But whatever you do, if you practice unconditional love, meaning that you try to remove all the judgment, you try to forgive everyone you can, for everything, absolutely everything. When you're practicing unconditional love, then what comes back at you, I believe, is unconditional love. Again, you create that magnetic force field around you that draws in that love to you. So will you do that with me this week? Will you focus on unconditional love, practicing that, and forgiving everyone and everything for anything possible that they may have done, not because it does anything for them, but because it soothes your soul and it puts you in alignment with the love that God has for you. Will you do that with me this week? Let's have a prayer. Right now, I just turn my awareness to the infinite power, the infinite presence, the infinite life of God. To that place beyond my human comprehension, how powerful God's love is. That is where I find myself, in the midst of God, my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am, and every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through all of life, flows through all equally. I know that same truth to be so for this team that God has provided me to perform this sacred service that I do. For I know that we are all connected by it, through it, as it. And we are led and guided by that same ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through all of us. As I know the same truth for all who are here today, whether that be in real time or later on. There's no place where one leaves off and the other begins, for we are all one. Mitakuios and all my brethren. We are related. We are connected. So I bless this coming week with so many opportunities to actually feel that unconditional love, to experience it on whatever level is available. If I am open to receive physically in a feeling, I'm going to feel it. If I'm open to receive it as a thought, it'll come as a thought. If I'm open to receive it as a sound, I will hear God's voice saying, I love you, unconditionally. I bless this week with those opportunities to experience that in whatever way we are able to receive it. So I bless every name that is in the ministry of prayer today, because I do know that that same power, that same influence, that same life, that same love is underlying whatever condition we are experiencing. And I pull back the veil and reveal that truth here and now. I claim it in their names as good and very good. As I give thanks for it. To know that it is done. To be of service in this way. And so I just let it be. And so it is. Amen.
Let the cheese drop.
Cheese fries at Taco Bell, guys.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirits on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are, and all we do is a blessing to the we are the heart.
Thank you, Faith. So now is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to experience the gratitude for that which you have already received in the physical realm, and perhaps that which you have not yet seen in the physical realm, but have created in the mind of God. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to go to www.oasiscsl.org and say the offering affirmation with me, which is about 2/3 down the page. And then underneath that is the Contribute Now button. So let me talk real quickly about contributing, because we're not in a facility, so you're not contributing to rent and utilities and that kind of stuff, all the normal stuff that you would do, contribute to in a church that has a facility. We have a vision of a healed world globally, and we have a mission that is healing one person at a time, healing the world one person at a time. So what you're contributing to is our mission leading to our vision. Because it takes money to market globally. We already have people from the UK or England, the Netherlands or Holland, Germany, the Philippines, and India. But we would like to enlarge that audience to the global world, to uplift and inspire the world. And it costs money to do that. So what you're contributing to is us getting to our mission, getting to our vision through our mission. So please go with me now, whether you're watching in real time or later on, go with me to www.oasiscsl.org. And about 2/3 down the page, like I said, is the offering affirmation. Please say that with me now. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive, and so it is. Okay, hit that contribute now button and help us get to our vision through our mission. All right. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast who perform 3 functions in our church, really. They are the healing arm, is the main thing that they are. We like to call them the God Squad. The first function they serve is they pray every day on requests for prayer. They pray every day for a week on those. So if you would like prayer for something, put it in the comments section. If you don't want it to be public, you can DM Faith, and she'll make sure the God Squad gets those requests. The second thing that they do is they're available by appointment for a fee for spiritual guidance. So you go onto our website, check out who our practitioners are. You can reach them through Facebook. Let them know you would like an appointment for spiritual guidance. They will let you know how to pay for it. I don't get involved in that. They have their own separate businesses. So it could be PayPal, it could be Cash App, it could be Venmo, it could be Zelle, whatever it is. They'll tell you how to pay for it, and then they will reach out to you by video chat at your appointed time for spiritual guidance. And then the third thing is the practitioner of the day, which is what Oz is doing. He's available at the end of this for what we call our 1-minute miracle. It's not a time for counseling, but it is a time where you can share whatever you're experiencing, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. So reach out to him by video chat. If he doesn't answer right away, it probably means he's on with someone else. And so try back a little bit later. I want to talk to you a little bit about, real quickly, I forgot to mention this, the end of year giving. When you do the contribute now button, if you can do your end of year giving, we will make sure that you get a statement for your taxes. Okay. Then let's see. Brooks and Bailey. This is the only part I have to do, and I mess it up every time. Faith is so good about doing all of the other stuff. Okay. Brooks and Bailey has mala beads, necklaces, and bracelets. They have other jewelry as well, but I focus in on this because I think it's a great way to do your affirmations, 100 affirmations a day, which is what I recommend doing. The Hindus and the Buddhists take and move one bead at a time when they do their chants. So I recommend that you use it for your affirmations. There's 108 beads in the necklace and 54 in the bracelet, so you would use it twice a day. But anyway, and there's no magic, like 100 is the magic number. That's not what it is. But you want to create those deeper grooves in the brain so you can create the reality of what it is you're affirming, right? So these beads right here are amethyst. They're $60, but they have all kinds of different gemstones, and they start at $30. So check these ladies out. I'm going to put their thing up here. All the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue, which is really a valuable service. And you can reach them through brooksandbailey0307@gmail.com or on their Facebook page. I try to, whenever they're doing an event somewhere, I try to repost that because I want you to go see their stuff. They have such wonderful stuff. They have other kinds of necklaces and earrings and bracelets and stuff. One of my favorite bracelets is one that they sent me that has the clasp is a circle with a bar that goes through it, and it's only fallen off of me once, and that's saying a lot because I lose jewelry like crazy. somehow clasps don't stay, and the ones that are just elastic usually break. So anyway, I'm hard on jewelry, I guess. All right, Faith.
And please check out the Mystic Brew. The website no longer works. However, you can order through Instagram and Facebook by DMing us at the Mystic Brew 303. Facebook does have the prices, and we have intention jars as well as kits to make them yourself and bath salts. The Mystic Brew will be closing as of January of 2024. So if you are interested, please check us out and order stuff before the site goes down. Thank you.
Wow, I didn't know you were taking that down. Okay. And then we have this store from Angel Renee, the Etsy store, that has intention candles and tea bags that you put in your bath water. They have aromatic herbs that help you to focus on your intention. So that is the purpose of all that. Next is, oh, I changed the thing. Next is, yes, thank you. Reverend Fairy Lane Silver's website. You know, Christmas is coming. This music that we do every Sunday is such a great gift to give to people because you can uplift and inspire them every morning or every day or every night or whenever they choose to use this music. Reverend Fairy Lane Silver's website, she can't change anything on it, so she can't tell you how to pay for it. So you have to email her, and she lets you know. And she drives around the country singing, and she always has those CDs in her car, and she's really good at, once it's paid for, sending them out. So definitely check out her stuff. And then Karen Drucker's website has, you can pay for it right there on the website, but she has single songs. She has CDs, she has songbooks, she has karaoke files if you like doing karaoke. Again, a great gift to give somebody this Christmas. Uplift and inspire them. We like the Songs of Spirit too. As I said earlier, it has so many chants on there that we use all the time. But all of her stuff is so good. She even has like just regular music that's uplifting. But I like her chant CDs the most because they're like memes that get stuck in my head. And again, it's a great Christmas gift to give anybody. So definitely check that out. Then go to our website, www.oasiscsl.org. You're going to find video sermons and audio sermons on there, and photos of picnics and other events we've had, so you can get to know who your spiritual family is. So keep checking us out. We are updating the website, and I promise eventually it will get done. It's timing is everything. My husband broke his hip and is now in rehab center, so I don't have a lot of extra time right now. The video sermons are on YouTube, and the audio sermons are on SoundCloud under S. Tucker. So we've got the videos from the last 3 years, and we've got audio from all the years prior. So definitely check all of that out. And we're going to move right to prayer.
And I know that right here, right now, God is in us, as us, all around us, upholding and supporting us, even in the Costco line for gas. That's where I am right now. But I know that God's presence permeates our lives, for we live in the body of God. We exhibit the body of God. We manifest the body of God at every given moment. And I know that there's a blessing that's involved in this, and I allow it to be as good as it can be. And I know it is good and very good, and I give thanks that it is so, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning, and we are so blessed to have you here with us. Next week, we have a special guest. As I said, Albertina Giuffre, we know her as Tina, is going to be our soloist next week as we talk about joy. So join us at 10:30 a.m. Sunday mornings, every Sunday, but most particularly be here next week. Until then, stay safe. We love you. Bye.